What is up, everybody, and welcome to FLW Videos. I have been on a kick where I've been wanting to upload helpful video after helpful video after helpful video, and today we are going to be talking about Pokemon that you would want to use your guaranteed lucky trade on, and specifically focus on Pokemon that are legacy moves, exclusive moves, maybe like Community Day, or they are just generally exclusive. We are going to be talking about the top 10 that you may want to use your guaranteed trade on, and then of course talk about why some of them are just going to be super rare, but the general benefit is that it does make them perform better than their typical moveset. I'm so excited about this. If you do enjoy this type of content, make sure to hit that like button, and if you are new, make sure to subscribe. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the video. Whenever I make these types of videos, I'll be honest with you, the hardest thing is deciding that number 10 spot, because there are so many good Pokemon that are just right there. It is very difficult to point out, so I want to go ahead and give some honorable mentions to the Community Day exclusive starters such as Swampert, Sceptile, and Blaziken. These Pokemon are amazing. Most of them are in at the number 2 spot from the perspective typing, so big shout out to them. We're going to go ahead and get into a little bit more creative Pokemon on this list, and the first one is Braylon. If you are not aware, Braylon has a legacy move of Grass Knot. We ended up getting this briefly from like a week-long event, or maybe like a 2-day event, where we ended up getting Grass Knot. But the reason why a lot of people kind of forgot about this is because Roserade just a couple of weeks later ended up getting Grass Knot too, propelling into the number 1, but there was a brief stint in time where Braylon held on to the number 1 spot, and now we are with a Pokemon that can technically outperform Sceptile in certain cases, for example, versus a Regirock. So I do think it is worth it, especially if you are looking for a Grass-type Pokemon and you already have a ton of Roserades. It could be a good option. For the number 9 spot, we're going to go ahead and head over to the defender side. I know some people are huge about defending. We're going to talk about Snorlax. I think Snorlax is a great option. No, we're not talking about Yawn. I know I've got Snorlax sleeping over here, but what we are going to be talking about is the legacy move Body Slam. Now, technically it is a legacy move, but it was also available in research for a small amount of time, I think like a month or so. So there are multiple ways you could have been granted access to Body Slam, but regardless of that, with this, it puts it into like the top 3 overall gym defenders, maybe behind something like a Blissey. So it might be worth it if you're looking for a Pokemon that can defend the gyms, can get you those coins. You may want to go ahead and look at a Snorlax. Moving up the list, in at the number 8 spot, we have Omastar. I have to say, this is easily one of my favorite legacy move Pokemon in the entire game. For the most part, for the one main fact is that you're going to end up with a double legacy moveset to make this happen. You've got Rock Throw and then you have Rock Slide. It is very important to have both of them, because if you do, it ends up being put into the number 3 spot overall from a rock typing perspective. You got Rampardos and then you have Tyranitar, but a long time ago, it was king because Tyranitar didn't always have Smackdown. Rampardos wasn't always in the game, so its value has lowered a little bit, but it is still extremely rare, and I am glad to talk about it on this list. Alright, we've got Gengar. Now, Gengar is definitely a flexible option on this, and I wanted to point it out from 2 different perspectives. We have access to Shadow Claw and Lick. Both of these are technically legacy for different reasons. Shadow Claw is a general legacy move, and then Lick was sent in the exclusive raid days for Gengar, so you could have obtained either one of them, and to be honest, both of them are good. I think that Lick is going to be a little bit more common, so Shadow Claw rarer, but Lick is going to be more common. And as far as the performance is concerned, they are very similar to each other, and Gengar is like the number 3 ghost type attacker behind Mewtwo, and then of course behind Giratina origin form. So I think it's worth it if you are looking for a really cool legacy move Pokemon. Zapdos. What an interesting option, because we're going to end up with a fast move in this case with Thundershock. Very interesting move on Niantic's behalf, but what ended up happening was this legacy fast move ended up making it perform better. Not good enough to outperform Raikou, so definitely go for Raikou first. But if you are interested in just a legacy Pokemon that is rare, maybe consider taking a look at Zapdos with that Thundershock, propelling it to the number 2 spot in Pokemon Go from the electric typing. Up next is Salamence. Now, what an amazing Pokemon. This is easily what I would consider one of the best budget option Pokemon available in this game. This is going to come from an exclusive Community Day move where you get Outrage versus Draco Meteor in its typical moveset. And with this, it is very, very, very close to being able to outperform Rayquaza. So it is a very solid budget option, and it's also fairly plentiful because it was a Community Day. So definitely keep this in mind and be on the lookout. Try to get yourself this type of Pokemon if you are looking for a budget dragon type attacker. This is going to kind of be the same thing. We've got Tyranitar, of course, from the SmackDown perspective, propelling it to the number 2 spot from the rock typing. It was number 1 until Rampardos came out. Rampardos is just an absolute beast, but this is one that is rare that people definitely want. It is desirable. Although you're not going to be able to get it over to that dark typing, you're kind of stuck with the rock type perspective. People love this Pokemon, so definitely be on the lookout for Tyranitar if you have the option to. Up next is Metagross. Now, Metagross is going to be a little bit different because its exclusive move also came from a Community Day, pushed it to the number 1 spot from its typing, in this case, Steel typing with Meteor Mash. This Pokemon is a beast. Not only is it the best from the Steel typing, because the moveset is so good, and because Metagross's stats are so good, it is just a very good general DPS Pokemon in Pokemon Go. So if you can manage to get yourself that Meteor Mash legacy move, definitely do it. You will not regret it. Mewtwo. Mewtwo, what an amazing Pokemon. We've got 2 legacy moves technically for Mewtwo. I'll go ahead and briefly cover Hyper Beam. I think Hyper Beam is interesting because, to be honest, I think that would be the least common legacy move. Everyone wants Shadow Ball, but Hyper Beam, on the other hand, would just be rare. So if you have one, maybe hold on to it. But when we're talking about using it for lucky trades, most people want to use it for performance. So Shadow Ball is clearly going to be the better option in this case, propelling it to the number 2 ghost type attacker. And what's really cool about this is if you get yourself this Shadow Ball Mewtwo, you can then unlock that secondary charge move, pick up the move Psychic, and now you've got the number 1 Psychic type attacker. So definitely a great investment, one that I have personally focused on the hardest with any type of guaranteed lucky trade that I can do. Now you might be curious as to whether or not that is number 1, but believe it or not, we have another one on this list. Specifically talking about Sky Attack Moltres because of something that will end up happening with it. We end up getting an update to Moltres' moveset where it now has access to Wing Attack. And because of that, if you have the exclusive move Sky Attack, what ends up happening is Moltres becomes the number 1 flying type attacker, taking it away from Honchkrow, and then secondarily holding on to the number 1 typing from the fire typing. So if you unlock a secondary charge move, get yourself Overheat on your Sky Attack Moltres, you can rover between the 2 quick moves, and you can have the number 1 Pokemon from 2 different typings. Definitely insane, something that I am personally think is easily the most valuable exclusive move Pokemon that you would want to have in Pokemon Go. But briefly, just briefly, I want to point something out. Have any of you ever heard of a legacy move Ember Moltres? If you have, let me know in the comments section below. And if you would like to see a video about that, I actually think that there is a very good story related to it and something that is definitely unique that you don't really hear about even in regards to legacy move Pokemon. But anyways, I hope you did enjoy this episode. Hopefully it was helpful to just kind of give you an aim of what you would want to focus on, especially related to exclusive / legacy moves. Go ahead and let me know in the comment section below what Pokemon you want to focus on trading and of course using for your guaranteed lucky trades. Let me know in the comment section below and I will see you next time. I wanted to take a brief moment to say thank you to the supporters on Patreon. If you have not checked out the page, I actually have a new tier that allows you to have direct access to me to be able to ask me for guidance and of course questions related to Pokemon Go. So if you are interested in that type of thing, definitely make sure to check out the Patreon page.